The reason why I think it's different, say like in sports, than it is in music or acting, is because with sports, it kind of is it's 100% has to do with your effort and the effort of the team. Like the effort that's put in, that's the reward, and the reward is to be great. And when you're on the elite level, you do it to be the greatest. Like that's just the mindset. Like I do it to be the greatest. In music and even in film, it's like that extra, it's like that Scrum certification on your resume. You know what I mean? And at the end of the day, it validates you.
So back to what I was saying.
What's up, friends, family, and fans? Welcome to L.I.F.E podcast. This is where we listen and inspire friends and entertainment.
And everywhere.
I guess that makes sense because life happens to everyone. I'm your host, Stone Stafford.
I'm your co-host, Johnny Vaughn.
Yeah, that's right. Everybody got a role to play. Welcome. Yo, before we get started, please go ahead and hit that like button. Hit the subscriber button. And to our listener, Angie, she said you need to start telling people to hit notifications. So hit notifications. Now, you guys know I've never really wanted to say that because, you know, I don't want to be getting in the way. I don't want to annoy people and all that kind of stuff. But Angie was like, no, hit notifications because sometimes I follow y'all, I subscribe, but when your new podcast comes up, it'd be nice to know when it comes up because I'll listen. So if it doesn't come up, then I get, I'm not paying attention. So, hit the notification button whenever we bring out so you know whenever a new podcast comes up.
There you go.
So that's what it is.
Yeah.
So,
big things happen in the sports world.
In the sports, well, yeah. Did the Lakers win?
No.
They're out, right?
And it's been that long and you didn't catch that?
It's been so long, I haven't even followed. Just edit that out.
LeBron got swept. No, I'm not going to edit it out. You sound crazy, and we're going to let everybody know you sound crazy. Yes, LBJ and the Lakers got swept.
However, this is the first season that he didn't get one vote for MVP.
That's true.
Not one. I mean, that sounds more like an anti-LeBron move because it's not like he hadn't done anything to at least deserve a vote.
It was some shooters in the league this year, some defensive players in the year, and the in-game pitch count thing he's been putting himself on that people have been noticing and taking some plays off and not getting back as far. People noticing that, so they feel like the age thing is coming into play.
Yeah. Retirement might be in the conversation.
Well, he did come up and say that he's got some stuff to think about, but we don't know what's happening with that yet. However,
everyone on edge.
A couple weeks ago.
Wait, total sidebar. Yeah.
Okay.
90-degree turn.
Do you think?
Is Brady coming back or not?
Oh my God, I'm not doing this. I'm not doing that. I don't know.
It's a legitimate question. I can easily Google it, but it just popped in my brain just
I have
now.
no idea what's going on with that.
All right, I'll look it up.
Yeah, I'm not. Right. I'm not. Because the second, when he was talking about the TV contract, and then it's something like he's got to deal with the Raiders. No, I don't know. I haven't been following.
All right, so you don't know. I get it. You don't know.
And I'm not, like I said, I'm not going to give him you've done the retirement walk twice now.
I wasn't trying to get all. I just want to know if you knew. You don't know.
I don't know.
You're going to say, forget about it. You don't know. All right, you don't know. I think you don't know.
I know Carmelo Anthony called it quits, and it made me sad because when you see what Carmelo did for the Denver Nuggets for so long and not get his ring, and then now, Jamal Murray, who was a part of that trade that got him to Denver when Carmelo left, and then Jokic is like wearing his number now. We don't know if
not good enough to retire.
I don't know if Carmelo's 15 will ever get retired, but he was asked, how you feeling about it? Because he never won a championship.
Do you think he was good enough to retire a number?
Yeah, no question.
To retire his number?
No question. For what he did with franchise, absolutely. I think so. Okay. But once you let Jokic put it on, now what's happening is happening. I don't know if he can now.
Yeah, right.
But he said he's at peace with it. He's good. He's good with not having the ring. He feels like he won at life. And
he won at life.
That's what he said. That was a statement. And it got me to thinking for real because
that's a macro view.
That's what I'm getting at. Do you have to take that macro perspective? Because we hold athletes and actors and actresses to super high regards, and they should win everything. I had this thing last year when I thought Viola Davis should have won everything. I obviously thought that Angela Bassett should have got her Oscar.
Right.
but they still have storied careers.
Sure.
They've still put out amazing bodies of work. But it is from person to person. You've got some greats that don't have the awards, that don't have the accolades.
Oh my
God! I got to thinking about it when he said that.
Barry Sanders will always just go down as one of the most disappointing people to not have. Not that he's disappointing.
Yeah.
Disappointing scenarios
To not.
where he doesn't have the ultimate prize in the sport. And he's had plenty of times to leave the Lions and he wouldn't do it.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely on the top of that list,
Man.
or towards the top of that list.
That's like Muhammad Ali never winning a boxing championship, or Jordan never winning a championship. When you're talking about Barry Sanders, bro.
No,
Like,
that's
serious.
I think that's valid, but those are the conversations you have because when you apply it to yourself, I had a list of goals for myself when I was younger of things I wanted to do, and before I turned 25. I had, if we count the grading on the curve, checked off every single one of those boxes. The reason why I used the grading on the curve thing is because winning a Grammy was on that list. We won one in high school for a performance we did, and we became a Grammy school. So Johnny didn't win one, but I was a part of a collective that did. So technically,
like the third and fourth string guy on the bench.
Well, now wait a minute now.
Still got the ring.
Now wait a minute now.
I'm a Super Bowl champion.
Wait a minute now. I was a star performer in this particular ensemble that spearheaded this win. So let's not get that twisted. But when I look at the fact that my music career was short in my eyes, I did not get a Grammy. I didn't make it to a nomination. I worked on some projects that got nominated, but because of the capacity I was in, uncredited, that's cool. I'm all right. But I got to the point to where accepting the fact that I got to be a part of all of these things that have been great was okay with me. But I'm seeing now that we've got a generation of people that don't care about any of that stuff. Mm-hmm. And then there's a generation that was above me where that was the big things. Like in the music world, it's still hard for me to believe. I don't think Nas has a Grammy.
See, I think it's going to be different where music and even TV and film are concerned and stuff.
Okay.
Because first of all, and J. Cole actually just did an interview on that too. And back when he first got started and stuff, the Grammy was everything. Like, gotta get a Grammy, get a Grammy. And he did projects that he felt should have been deserving of the nomination and stuff. And he said that by the time he did finally get one, it didn't matter to him. Mm-hmm. He was like, it doesn't mean the same thing it meant when I first got started and stuff. And that's the whole view like Carmelo has where, look, I wanted life. I wanted the more important things. Mm-hmm. But the reason why I think it's different, say like in sports than it is in music or acting is because with sports, it kind of is it's 100% has to do with your effort and the effort of the team. Like the effort that's put in, that's the reward, and the reward is to be great. And when you're on the elite level, you do it to be the greatest. Like that's just the mindset. Like I do it to be the greatest. Mm-hmm. In music and even in film, it's like that Scrum certification on your resume. You know what I mean? And at the end of the day, it validates you.
Right.
It validates you. It's like, oh, I won a Grammy. You know, some people don't even have to know the record that you did. All they know is that you won a Grammy. You're going to get a shot. Mm-hmm. You know, so I think, and then it's voted upon, so it's objective or subjective. So I think it's different where I can get it where someone's like, it doesn't mean the same to me in music and stuff like that. But for Carmelo and in sports, I can see that being heartbreaking because especially when you're on a team, but then you as an individual have done some championship-worthy work. Yeah. So I credit him for keeping everything in perspective. I really, really do. But I would not blame him for being disappointed and somewhat unfulfilled by retiring without having that ring.
Just in what you just said in that conversation, I had a different thought process that I even had when we were discussing what we were talking about on it. And that's the difference in sports and other forms of entertainment, especially in media, because you've got such a finite amount of time in sports. Mm-hmm. And when you are great and you know you're great in that finite amount of time and it doesn't happen, despite the magnitude of your personal effort, I think it does add a little bit more of a debilitating emotional vibe to it. Right. Because I mean, I've always said I think there's a time limit on your music career in the music industry. I may be wrong. Certain people have had different experiences, but for the majority of the people, you got a window. And if you don't make that window, it ain't happening, player.
My whole thing is, nowhere. I think you can elongate your career if you're willing to move to appropriate genres. By the time you're 60, right, you should not just be getting into trill.
Yeah.
God forbid drill. I can't wait till that whole genre is over. You know what I mean? Or EDM.
Yeah.
For that sake.
Yeah.
You more in your adult contemporary, love like sweet as reward. I mean, come on. I mean, just accept the facts. So there's a way to kind of extend your music career, but in sports, you don't have a
really
choice.
don't get it.
I don't care how strong you are mentally. Your body's just like, I'm done.
Father Time's gonna win that battle.
Yeah.
So that I think that's the difference. And I don't know why. That's the most important thing. I didn't even put that on my radar to kind of analyze. But even with like everyday life stuff, we all have goals and aspirations. And we talk about all the time how, that straight line of success or whatever it is isn't there. It's always some loop-de-loop thing and you go somewhere other place. And with me, given that originally sports was my first thing. Like baseball was supposed to be my life. Obviously, I fell into some other stuff that became my life after some injuries. But what was my life has no weight aside from, little league through high school at all. And that's the stuff you can't talk about. Because once you graduate, you can't be the kid that was like, man, I was great in high school. You can't be that kid anymore. Can't be that guy. Yeah. But everything I did after that.
Let it go moment.
Exactly. Yeah. But the music, the stuff that I did with music, the stuff I've done in radio came completely out of left field.
Right.
And, I've been a part of some extremely, well-recognized teams in that. And when I look back across my body of work, which encompasses a bunch of different things, I feel a certain way about me not having accolades in what I spent my entire childhood working towards.
But I think part of it with that, as I completely cut you off, is, all right, so if you are someone like a Carmelo, a Barry Sanders, people of that
ilk.
Yes. Individually, their name's in the conversation of greatness.
Absolutely.
So their name is the trophy, if you
that.
will, individually. But if you're the guy if you're a Robert Horry.
Oh, wait a minute now. Horry got 6 rings?
This has nothing. No, right. But if you're a Robert Horry on a team who didn't win, I would feel some kind of way of retiring without a ring. Because no one's talking about LeBron and Kobe and AI and Jordan and Robert Horry. No disrespect to Robert Horry. Dope behind player. I mean, definitely in the upper echelon of the players. You get what I'm saying?
I'm with you.
Is Robert a Jordan?
Yeah.
No disrespect. You're not a Jordan. Robert would tell you I wasn't a Jordan. So when you have people like that and then working your way on down, I would hate to retire without a ring. And even as I got older, if I'm going to be completely honest, I have some regrets for not buying my plaques. Yeah, you buy your plaques, by the way. Yeah, there are a few people who've done some things where the label bought it for them. But no, you buy your plaques.
Every once in a while, we got one sent to the radio station.
You know what I'm saying? But I, because my name, Stone Stafford, you don't say, oh yeah, and Lucien Grange and Stone Stafford.
Yeah.
That, at least right now, that's not a conversation. You know what I mean? So if it's Stone Stafford, but most of all, you're going to be like, who? Right? So
you mean something to us, Stone. We know who
I understand. So for me, the plaques are different because when you come in and see what could I have had? You come in and see a Janet plaque, you see a Mariah plaque, you see a Justin Bieber plaque. If you see that, you're like, oh, Stone. All of a sudden, there's my resume. All of a sudden, there's some instant validity to you, right? So
is that really what it is? Is the validity existing in physical form?
And it is without having to explain anything.
Exactly.
When I say and that's a good point because it's not, I don't need the validation from you, but if you don't know me or know my resume and I want to do something with you, it absolutely helps validate me because not me, and we all know in music and entertainment people, they got stories that are like, maybe some of it was true. Right? For example.
And the further you get away from it, the legend grows.
Right. Like when people be like, oh, Stone worked with Brandy.
Yeah.
No, I didn't. I signed a writer who we got songs on Brandy. But I didn't work with Brandy. You know what I mean? Now someone said, well, you worked with it because you did the song and she recorded here and you on this. I get what you mean. We were in the proximity of the same thing.
Right.
What do you call it?
Technically.
Yeah, indirectly.
Yeah.
I worked with her.
Yeah.
But if you say I work with Brandy, no, you already know someone's picturing you in the room with Brandy.
Yeah.
So that's why. So when I have that plaque, though, it said, no, I was a legitimate part of this project. So I get it. And so not having a ring, it might be rough for me. But if I were a Carmelo Anthony, I might not sweat it too much because I'm like, you know who I am. And if you don't, honestly, that's your loss.
And I want to. So the one thing that I always think about is the representation of that physical aspect of it. Having the ring means you won the championship. Because a lot of champions sell their rings or they auction them off for charity and all that stuff. The physical thing doesn't stay around. It's the being at the pinnacle and being recognized for being the best.
Yep.
Is what that is.
Yep.
The Marconi Award is what exists in radio. And if you count the stations and shows that I've been on, that I've been a part of, that my name may not be etched in it, I'm partly responsible for about 17 of them. Whether it's an executive producer role, whether it was a co-hosting role, whether it was station of the year, and not having that the day I leave radio, because I've gotten to the point in my radio career where I can I'm not going to have the #1 radio show in the country. Like there's a window and I'm not going to get it because the stations that dominate right now.
The stations you at, you ain't.
Right.
I can tell you that.
And again, like with the stations that dominate now, the shows that dominate now, and the progression of the industry and the way it's going to, the opportunity is so slim. Is it impossible? No. The work that it would take for me to make it happen, I can't afford that sacrifice.
Does that mean
anymore.
anything to you?
It does, and that's what I'm getting at. Because every time I've done something at any stage of my career, I committed myself to it 100%. Right. So knowing that I've been a part of these things, but not the name on it, does mean something to me for my career, because my name's not going to come up when they talk about those great people.
So your second phrase is what I want to ask about. So does it mean something to you, or does it mean something to you because it means something to other people?
No, it means something to me because of the fact that I know how much work I put into it.
So to my point, and going back to Carmelo's point, is like I'm winning at L.I.F.E, is just if it only means something to you and only you, is not enough to know that you just did it?
No. No, it's gonna be a.
Do you like to see the reminder to remind yourself?
Well, it's not something. There's a goal that wasn't reached. There's unfinished business, as they would say in sports.
No, all right. So in that case, I get it.
Saying.
But let's say the goal was reached, but there is no plaque. There's no trophy.
I'd be fine.
You'd be fine. With
Yeah, I'd be fine with that. It's the fact that I know now. Like I'm not trying to equate my career to Carmelo, what he did. I have not done for radio what Carmelo did for the Nuggets or the NBA. But in trying to put these apples against those oranges, I put a lot of work and effort into getting to the status Carmelo got to the NBA, and I came up extremely short. So the day I leave radio, that'll be something that, despite the great things that I did, it'll still be a shortcoming that will haunt me in a sense of not being able to make it to the pinnacle of being recognized as the best and being able to say that I achieved that.
Well. Again, you know me, Mr. Objective.
Oh, knock yourself out. Rock out. What
the reason got? And what the phrase that Carmelo said, the reason why it's sticking out to me more and more now, and even what in J. Cole's interview, is they got to the point where it really was for them and what they felt about themselves.
Right.
So, and the reason why that's even more important, like in boxing, for example, you're going to get the trophy because that just equates to what you did.
Yeah, I mean,
you're the only
solo
one
sport.
involved.
Right, it's a solo sport.
But when you're in a job, at a radio station or in a film or whatever it may be on a team, there are too many other people involved that affect whether or not you reach, not even get the trophy, just whether or not you reach the goal that you wanted to personally.
Absolutely.
And you personally could have done everything that is required as an individual to have gotten it. But instead, the coach decided to pass the ball in the Super Bowl when they should have just ran it, and then the clock would have run out. Falcons, you know, see what I'm saying? So that's not on you as the running back. You know, when you got 200 yards, that thing, fumble recovery for a 2 touchdown. Let's just go fanatical with it.
Sure.
As an individual, you should have won the Super Bowl.
Absolutely.
But your coach decided to pass the ball with a minute left in the game instead of running the ball.
No, you're not wrong.
You see what I'm saying? So in that, I want to encourage you, my brother, to take pride in the fact that you reached the pinnacle that Johnny could have reached.
And I do. I absolutely do. Because again, the one thing that I never forget is that there are about 40 on-air radio personality jobs on average in every market.
Okay.
40. There's 6.5 million people that live here. I have one of 40 jobs. That in itself is absolutely an achievement. However, we can't forget that getting to the dance, new goals and aspirations grow from being within it. It's the whole evolutionary thing. So you set these, not so much expectations, but you know, once you get to it, getting to it isn't just it. You want to do something while you're in it. And again, I've done stuff while I've been in it. But again, when I realized that I was good at it, and when I realized that this could, and then I committed myself to it, the expectation of reaching a certain level starts to become more and more real.
You know what I think should happen? Only because it's one of those things of where do we draw the line?
Yeah.
I think in competitive arenas, right?
Okay.
Then I think the winner should get the acknowledgement of the trophy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because in the competition, it means you beat whoever the best was.
Yeah.
So you're the best. In just performance arenas, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think it should be something. I think the reward or the prize, the trophy, whatever you want to call it, the acknowledgement should be for exemplary achievement. Not so, for example, in music, right? Mm-hmm. It shouldn't just be because you were voted for, or maybe you had the highest number of sales that year. You had the highest number of sales ever, right? Because if we're just doing it on the lower levels that we do it, and it's like in entertainment in some areas, well, then I'm sorry. I'm gonna have conversations about parents, about teachers, about civic service, like firefighters, where you literally run in and you save a life. It's kind of like, how is that not worthy of a trophy? You know, if people gonna argue with parents, it's your job to parent, I get it. But say like teachers, right? It's not their job to rein your bad behind kid, but then they turn that kid's life around or whatever. So I feel we should have things that honor people like that. But again, everyone's going to have some little thing they did that's great, right? So it should be something it's not hard to achieve. You have to do something that's truly extraordinary to get recognized on something like that. Like, that would be an amazing, and I'm sitting there saying it, and it's one of those things where if you say something should be done, you should do it. But that would be an amazing thing. I know there is some kind of a lifetime achievement, like public servant award. Isn't there something that's on?
Yeah, there is.
Right.
I mean, so that's what I was going to get to. Every industry has its own thing.
Facts.
And that's
good point.
so.
No, good point.
So I mean, my mom won Teacher of the Year a couple times through her 20 years or 25
it's
years.
It's just the stage. I guess really I'm talking about the stage that
yeah,
it's on.
And I mean, that's so mine isn't so much a recognition thing. I'm removing it from mine's not about recognition.
You're just accomplishment.
It's exactly. That's really what it's based on, is that, you know, when you give your all to it, despite the team that's around you, you expect that your all to be enough to reach the pinnacle. Right. And that's more so what I'm speaking on. The one thing that kind of gets convoluted in it is that our unrealistic expectations that we place on other industries. The sports thing in general, everybody want LeBron James to win all 10 of the times he went to the finals, and then saying Jordan's the best just because he won all 6, and it's like, but Jordan didn't get there 10 times. LeBron got there 10 times, so that means that, you know, he was better than every team but one. Right. You know, 6 times. Right. Jordan didn't make it 14 times, 13 times. Like, it's so those are the kind of, and I'm not finna do a Jordan LeBron argument, but I'm just saying those are the arguments that come up when we put unrealistic expectations, and then we start to apply those unrealistic expectations to other mediums, other, you know, teachers, firefighters, actors, all of that stuff. Right. When within that one realm of medium. They have their own stage. And that's the only thing that I'm measuring it up against is one, not having unrealistic expectations of your stage based off of something you saw on somebody else's stage.
Yeah, we get into the whole Instagram social media problem.
Exactly.
Comparing ourselves to other people. And
Exactly.
all that kind of stuff, which goes back to my point of it's the third E in my success formula, right? I always, when I introduce that, it's excellence. I say, if you're going to do it, you should do it to be the best.
Yeah.
And honestly, and if it turns out that you're the best, that's your reward. Or here's the thing too, if it turns out where you might not have been the best, but you did it to the best of your ability, like you reached your full potential in that arena, you should be happy. And it shouldn't require the world clapping for you to be happy.
To acknowledge the fact that
when you can truly say, I had no more to give. I gave everything I had, and that was the level that I reached. Man, by all means, go to dinner, sleep at night, do whatever it is you need to do to celebrate, because that's really, at the end of the day, all that matters. Because that's all that anyone.
So you shouldn't need the trophy, is what
you shouldn't need the trophy to be happy with it. Okay. So that's where I stand on it personally.
I don't disagree with it. I think
if we don't have a trophy for Life on Podcast, I know we changed lives.
I want a trophy.
I want a trophy too. But I'm just saying, I know we have. Because I had the DMs and the texts though.
Same.
To prove it.
Yeah.
Right?
And
where they said, oh my God, when you said this, that was everything. And so we won.
Yeah.
Already.
This is one of those mediums that I'm saying because I'm putting that same level of effort into it. Like I want Life to be $100 million podcast since that's the bar now.
Sure.
Can it do it? Absolutely. You know what I'm saying? So it's when you know that it's possible. I just hope my teammate don't drag me down. That's all I'm playing. I'm joking. I'm playing. That's all jokes.
We got a third co-host in here somewhere.
That's all jokes.
Now, but to balance, and I'm gonna close on this. If you get to the point, when we get to the point that we're $100 million podcast, then that does say that is an indication that we're doing something.
Absolutely.
You see what I'm saying?
I mean, but
so we get it. That's what the trophy's for. They're indicators that you are doing something on certain levels.
Exactly.
But our joy should have still have come along that whole journey because every single level we're giving our best.
Because $5 million ain't nothing to laugh at.
You got that right.
So,
you got that right.
Exactly.
Shoot. So so that's all I got, man. We appreciate you guys. Hope you got something out of it. We know we always do. So if anything you want to follow for Life on Podcast, do that at lifeonpodcast.com. Everything for Stone, that's easy, man. StoneStafford.com.
Same place as always. Just Johnny Vaughn.
Just Johnny Vaughn, any and everywhere except the website. I'm prodding you, man. That's just tough love. It's just tough love is all that is.
Still just waiting on our Christmas song. You know what I'm saying? If we gonna do that,
but we'll have it. But it'll be Christmas time. So I have until December to do it.
And Johnny's website is coming.
So our love shout out this week is gonna go out to my homie Kid Class.
What up?
The real Kid Class. Y'all go make sure you check out his podcast. It's called Industry Convos. All right, I'm sure it can be found anywhere under that Industry Convo. So go check out his podcast, man. Like and subscribe. We're going to try to, not just show you love just for friends or anything like that, but try to show you love to really impactful podcasts that you guys want to get something out of.
Yeah,
like
stuff that we may not.
A really good book or a really good movie.
Yeah, because y'all our family, and y'all know we don't listen to family, so y'all got to go hear somebody else say it, so y'all listen.
Right? Right. So go check out Industry Combos with my man Kid Class. All right, and that's all we got. Don't forget to like, subscribe, tell a friend. Just hit that share link. Be like, yo, check this one out, and we'll get to that 1 million this year in 2023. Yo, we love y'all. We out. Peace.
So back to what I was saying.